Oops. Okay. Well, give it a shot. Maybe somebody has a charger. I don't know, but hopefully we can make it work. Okay. So, has anybody ever used Google Sheets before or no? Kind of. So it works kind of like Excel. So if you've played with Excel, then you might be comfortable with it. And if you're like, I don't get it, I want you to turn off that mindset. Open up your mind, right? I'm here to help you. I'll hold your hand if you need it. Okay. Pat you on the back every step. We'll get there. So we're going to go to blank because that seems like a reasonable place to start. Okay. And what we're going to do, friends, is that we don't need to use a calculator to do any of this business. Do you remember on the front of the orange sheet, we said that we were going to be able to find the acceleration, right? So we're going to do that using this. We're actually going to go ahead and do the averages using this as well. Some of you have already gone through and found your averages. Good for you. We're going to check them and make sure. Mostly because I want you to know how to do this so that the next time we do a lab like this, you'll know how. And it'll be like, oh, I got this. Okay. So you can name it. Let's name it Newton's first and second law. Shall we do that? You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Newton's. It's really just the second law. But, you can call it what you want. Well, I think that the first and second law are really the same thing, but, so name it what you want. We'll call it first and second because, we like to be orderly. The first thing that I want you to know about spreadsheeting and about graphing and about labs in general is that your spreadsheet, your graph does not have to look exactly like mine. Okay? Kind of like, do you remember a while ago I told you that your data table doesn't have to look exactly like mine? There are lots of different ways to do it. Same with this. This is just getting your data up here. So I'm going to show you one approach. Yours doesn't have to look like mine, and that's fine. I'm going to put a section here for my raw data. And so mostly so that I can find the average. So I'm going to say raw data, and this is just to help me remember what I'm doing, to find averages. So depending on which kind of thing you did, are we okay so far? No major catastrophes? Okay. I'm going to say, so I'm going to pretend that I was in charge of mass 1, but you may have been in charge of mass 2, depending on which question you had. And then what was the other thing that I found? Time, right? And I did multiple times and I found an average. Is that right? Do you remember this? Yeah. So I'm going to do mass 1 and again, you can do this whichever way you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm just thinking here. I'm going to do time 1. So that's trial 1. One thing I will tell you from my experience is that if you take the time to set up your spreadsheet with labels and things, it will make your life easier in the long run. Because if you're not going to do it all in one sitting, if you come back, you're like, I don't know what these numbers are. You know what I'm saying? But if you've labeled it nicely, it'll be okay. I'm going to say time, trial 2. And how many trials did we do? Oops, let me see if I can type correctly. Trial 3. And then I'm going to do the time average. There, I'm going to remind myself what the units are. So I'm just going to say seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple minutes to put in your data, your masses, and then type in your times. And then where it says average, so I'm just going to make up some times like 1, 2, 3, just totally making things up, right? They should be close to each other, like maybe 1, 1.2, and 0.9, let's say. I just want to show you how to do the average. If you want the spreadsheet to work for you, hit equals. I think this is right. I haven't actually tried this one. AVERAGE, that's my guess. Parentheses, we're going to find out if that's true. It is, yay. So you type in equals, say, I want it to average. Average these numbers for me. And then then I have a parenthesis, and then you can just tell it what you want it to average. Those 3, please. And hit enter. Okay. How are we doing so far? You okay? You type in equals and then capital letters AVERAGE, spell out average, parenthesis, and then select all of the things. Okay. I'm going to pause there for a minute. I want you to give that a shot. Okay. You have So, okay, one note, and this is, I'm going to just keep talking as we go. In order to find averages, they all have to be numerical. So you can't have any letters in there. So you can't have the seconds in there. That's why I put the seconds up here. And I'm actually going to go back and put the seconds on each of the time trials.
Should we put grams for mass?
We should put it in kilograms because we want everything in kilograms in physics, right? Because the chemists are silly with their grams.
I just said grams
because they were written in grams. Yeah, so do the conversion, or we can make the computer do the conversion. You just move it over 3. Yeah. So all of your numbers have to just be a number, no S's in there. So there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So you take the decimal and move it over 3 places. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? So 10 grams. There's my decimal point. Move over 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 0.010. Or if you're really lazy, and I'm not saying you are, but if one is really lazy and wants the computer to do it, I can show you how to do that also. Do it right now because it's fun. And anybody watching this video might want to know how, huh? This is in grams because that's what we measured raw data. Change the mass to kilograms. Oops, mass 1 in kilograms. All we're going to do is divide by 1,000. So let's say it was 10 grams equals divided by 1,000. Ding. Well, that was fun. Right. One other note. You do equals. The other here, let me show you something really cool though. Is that just to make your life even faster?
Circular dependency.
I'll come over and help you out in a second. You click there and then grab on this little box here. Boom. Let me show you guys something else really exciting. Can you look up here for just a moment? I'm not saying you have to be done. I just want to show you something fun to make your life easy. So let's say my next one was 2, 2.1, and 2.3. Watch this. Instead of having to type equals average blah, 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 now that I've done the 1, right, I've typed it in. Check this out. Do you see that little blue box at the bottom of that cell? Each of these boxes is called a cell, by the way. That's just like the technical term for it. If you put your cursor there, it turns into a little plus sign. Drag it down, boom, it's done. I know life is unfair, but we'll do it again. You'll get it in a second. Columns? Probably you can say insert column to the right.
So like
Oops, there's a bad one, but so you can undo that.
6 repeated.
Yep, and then yep.
Or
There you go.
not terrible. 1, 5, 1, 6.
So we're gonna
1.82 for your repeating.
Well, what method will you use?
And then 2.01 for your repeating.
So just go 0.
And
How are we doing, team?
They said 2.17 for your repeating.
I wanna help you. So it's perfect.
Yeah, that's what it is. 2.17.
Okay, so sometimes when you click on things, it's a little bit cranky. So this says,
And then
so
2.01.
B3 is the name of that cell. Does that make sense? B3. I'm just gonna get rid of that. And now we're not gonna use space. Like spaces. So we're gonna go there. And then, is it these guys here? There you go. You're so welcome. My pleasure.
Promise. It's the same, you just don't put the B3 there.
Yeah, here, I can look at it. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little creaky. We just have to be, we should just kind of talk next to it, right? Because it's not really that smart, it's just a computer. So in front of that equal sign, it says B3. So I'm just gonna take that.
Oh, so sometimes.
Yeah, and it just depends on how you click on it. Sometimes that happens.
How do I see that?
So I'm gonna put a parenthesis and then I'm just gonna go here. Oh, she can say, I want this. I want this, please. And then that goes. And now this is the really nice part because if you click there, you can see a little tiny blue box.
Yeah.
Put your cursor on that to make a little plus sign. Click and drag.
Oh, the average one would be the same.
I know, watch what's gonna happen. Whoop, whoop, it's so cool, right? So the nice thing about these spreadsheets, guys, is that I just said to Promise that they're not really smart. The thing is that it's kind of smart, it's just smart the way it wants to be smart, right? It's a program, so you really have to tell it what you want to do. But the program is made, so if you look at this one, again, each of these little rectangles is a cell, okay? And each cell has coordinates. It's kind of like on a graph, right? So this cell is F3. Are you with me there? And if you look up here, it's saying that it's averaging C3 through E3. So that's C3, C3, D3, and E3. Okay? Promise was like, but I don't want to have the same average for every single one when we were going to drag down, right? But here's the cool thing, is that it's smart. It knows when I drag down, oh, I want to do not 3s, but I want to do 4s. So it knows, like it doesn't know, but it's been programmed to figure it out, right? So instead of having 3s there, it's going to have 4s. Are you with me? How are we doing? Are we okay? Okay. Is everybody to the place where they have averages and they have their masses in? Sweet. Okay. So the next thing we need to do, this is going to require a little bit of thinking and planning on our part, is to figure out what we actually want to graph. Okay? On the yellow or golden sheet that you have, we were trying to answer one of two questions. And what were the questions that we were really trying to answer? Do you remember, or can you look on that sheet? What questions were we really trying to answer?
The acceleration.
How does one affect the time?
Oh.
Right. How does whatever affect the time and thus the acceleration? And we ended up using masses, but one of the masses was representative of what? Do you remember? Was representative of the... Yep, so one of them was the mass of the cart. And then what was the other one? If you flip it over to the brainstorming that we did, we can look back here. I can maybe find it here on my physics lists. That mass 2 changes the force of this thing that's pulling. How can I figure out the force that's pulling down for those of you guys that were in charge of M2? What's the force that's pulling down with? The what? Gravity, the force of the earth pulling on that one, right? So those of you that had M2, you got a little extra step in that. We want to know, so I'm going to write this down real quick. So the people that were in charge of M2, really what we want to do is we want to graph in the end. I'm just going to kind of think big picture here. We want to graph the force, okay, the force of the earth on M2 versus acceleration. Are you with me there? And those of you that were in charge of M1, what is it that you want to graph in the end? What is it that you wanted to graph? M1 is the mass of this little guy here, right? And you all thought yesterday when we were brainstorming that M1 was going to affect the acceleration, right? So really we just want M1 down here, so that's a little easier. So for you M1 people, you're welcome. Just so happens. And what's going to be on the other axis? What are we trying to figure out if it affects? Acceleration. Okay. So our goal is to get two columns, one that has what we want on the x-axis and one that has what we want on the y-axis. Does that make sense? If you were in charge of M2, we have to do a little calculation here because the force is going to be equal to the mass, of 2 times 9.81. Okay. And all of you are going to have to do a calculation for acceleration, but luckily you already wrote down that equation, didn't you? We did that yesterday. Okay. So we're going to give that a shot and see if we can get there. Okay. So what kind of columns are we going to need to have, friends? What do you think? We need to pick some columns. Do we need every single data point every single time that we took? Or no? We just need the averages, yeah. So I'm going to say time AV for average, just because I'm a little bit lazy, in seconds. I'm going to put mass over here. I'm going to say mass 1. This is like a new little, yeah, like a new little space. Yeah, yeah. So maybe we can say, we could label this like data analysis. Somebody asked earlier, what happens if I want to add a new column or something like that? Like, let's say that you put that in a spot and you don't want it there, or you want to add something new. If you go to insert, you can add a row above or below or a column, okay? Or shift things. You just have to look around a little bit. Don't be afraid to break stuff. It'll be okay. Yep, so it'll be mass 2 if you did mass 2. Yeah. And if you were in charge, I have to look back because I don't remember here. If you were in charge of mass 2, let me take that extreme position here. If we're in charge of mass 2, then we might want another column in here that's labeled the force, right? It's going to be measured in newtons because forces are measured in newtons. Okay. So if you were in charge of mass 1, you can just have one column that says mass 1, but you do want it in kilograms. Okay. Oh, I lied. Mass 1, you were just doing it in terms of number of blocks, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just, in here, you could say mass 1 and then in parentheses, number of blocks. Okay. If you were a mass 1 group, then you can just do number of blocks because it doesn't matter that much for that. Time averages, and then we're going to have acceleration. What are the units of our acceleration going to be? Meters per second. I'm just going to use caret 2 because I think that's the easiest way to do that. I think I'm going to try this real quick. Copy. Paste. Nope, that didn't work. Z. Let's see. I didn't try this before. Copy. Paste special. Paste values only. Ha-ha! That's sweet. Okay, let me show you what I just did. Yep, I'm not going anywhere. So you want to have either mass 1, number of blocks, time and acceleration, or mass 2, force, time and acceleration. So far, so good? I want to show you how to do this. We will continue with this tomorrow. You don't need to work on this tonight. If it makes you happy and you're like excited about it and want to go for it, awesome. But you don't have to do this tonight. I don't want anybody to get stressed out about it. Okay. Let me show you how to get those numbers, those time averages that you just calculated. If you, oh, you guys can't right click though, can you? Or left click. Let's see.
Well, I tried doing the main copy.
Let's see. Can you go to edit? Copy? Nope. You highlight the whole thing. Highlight that whole list. You guys, can you right click?
Yeah.
Oh, if you do control.
With 2 fingers.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. So either if you know how to right click, great, or you can just go up to edit, that works too, and say copy. Yep. So let me tell you, that's the thing you have to know. So you're just going to put it there and then say, when you go to edit, you want to paste special. And you want to paste the values. And then it will give you the numbers. Okay? Put in the values. Make sure you bring your Chromebooks. Make sure they're charged tomorrow. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day. What's that?